Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Yasodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yasodanandana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Jaya Vishnu Patramhamsa Parivraj Kacharya Stuttara Sutta Sri Srimati Dani Goswami Abhay Charana Ravinda Bhakti-Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Nita Gobramanande. All glories to the assembled devotees. Jai Shri Shri Guru Gauranga Jai Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna. We are reading Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 8, Chapter 5, The Demigods Appeal to the Lord. Verse 21. Aham bhavo yuyam Aham bhavo yuyam atho suradayo Aham bhavo yuyam atho suradayo Manushyatir-yagdrumagharma jataya Manushyatir-yagdrumagharma jataya Yasyavataram sa kalavisarjita Yasyavataram sa kalavisarjita Yasyavataram shakala visarjita Kala visarjita Vrajama sarve sharanam tamavyayam Vrajama sarve sharanam tamavyayam Sarve sharanam tamavyayam Aham bhavo yamato suradayo Aham bhavoyu Manushyatir-yagdrumagharma jataya Yasyavataram sakala kala visarjita Yasyavataram sakala visarjita Vrajama sarve sharanam tamavyayam Aham bhavo yamato suradayo Manushyatir-yagdrumagharma jataya Yasyavataram shakala visarjita Rajama sarve sharanam tamavyayam Yamato suradayo Manushyatir-yagdrumagharma jataya Yasyavataram sakala visarjita Vrajama sarve sharanam tamavyayam. You want to chant? Aham bhavo yamato suradayo Manushyatir-yagdrumagharma jataya Yasyavataram sakala visarjitam Aham I Bhava Lord Shiva Yuyam all of you demigods Atho as well as Asura Adaya demons and others Manushya the human beings Tiryak the animals Druma the trees and plants Gharma Jataya as well as the insects and germs born of perspiration. Yasya, of whom? The Supreme Personality of Godhead. Avatara, of the Purusha incarnation. Amsha, of his part and parcel, the Gunavatara Brahma. Kala, of Brahma's sons. Visarjita, produced by the generation. Vrajama, we shall go. Sarve, all of us. Sharanam, unto the shelter. Tam, unto the Supreme. Avyayam, the inexhaustible. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. Lord Brahma said, I, Lord Shiva, all of you demigods, the demons, the living entities born of perspiration, the living beings born of eggs, the trees and plants sprouting from the earth, and the living entities born from embryos, all come from the Supreme Lord, from His incarnation of Rajaguna, Lord Brahma, the Gunavatara, and from the great sages, rishis, who are part of me. Let us therefore go to the Supreme Lord and take shelter of His lotus feet. Some creatures are born from embryos, some from perspiration, and some from seeds. In this way, all living entities emanate from the Gunavatara of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Ultimately, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the shelter of all living entities. Aham bhavo yu yamato suradayo manusyatir yagdrumagarma jataya yasya vataram sakala visarjita vrajama sarve sharanam tamavyayam. Lord Brahma said, I, Lord Shiva, all of you demigods, the demons, the living entities born of perspiration, the living beings born of eggs, the trees and plants sprouting from the earth, and the living entities born from embryos, all come from the Supreme Lord, from His incarnation of Rajagun, Lord Brahma, the Gunavatar, and from the great sages, rishis, who are part of me. Let us, therefore, go to the Supreme Lord and take shelter of His lotus feet. Om Agyanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurmiritam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Eva Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Vaiguna Kita Kalita Paishunya Vrana Pirita Danirnaveni Magnoham Chaitanya Vaidyamashaye. I am eaten by innumerable microbes of my bad qualities, and my whole body is itching with enviousness. Therefore, immersing myself in the ocean of humility, I take shelter of Dr. Chaitanya. This is Antya-lila 5.1. Yasya prasadadagyopi sadhya sarvagatam vrajetsa Shri Chaitanya Deva me Bhagavan samprasidatu. May Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, be fully merciful unto me. By His grace, a complete fool can get all knowledge in one moment. This is Madhya 1.1. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Hare-rama Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Lord Brahma, the Acharya of the universe, is showing us the example what to do when we have some trouble. So we have demigods in trouble, some relatively, apparently small mistake, Indra honored a garland from Durvasa. And I don't know, strangely enough, we have Padma Purana describing this story also. This is Padma Purana bought by Ananta Prabhu's brother Venkatabhata. We have it here in our temple. I know only one person in our society who has read the full Padma Purana, and he is already departed. That was Aindra Prabhu. He was borrowing this from, I forgot from whom he was borrowing. Somebody else in Vrindavan had it. So he read the full one, and he found every austerity you can do. Oh, you can also do this, and it fulfills your desires. I have a desire to reach Krishna, let me do this austerity. He was saying like every austerity, imaginable, unimaginable, every rather. So here the story is also given. It begins with the question of how is it about Lakshmi? How is it? She's born from the ocean, but then she's also born from Bhrigu. So who is she born from? From the ocean or from Bhrigu and Kyati? And it begins with the story of Durvasa, who is going around the universe, and then he sees a beautiful girl, and she gives him the garland. So that's the garland. Strangely enough, I'm sure she offered this garland first to Krishna, or maybe somebody gave her this garland from... Yes, Durvasa, Atri's son, wandering this earth, saw a fragrant, auspicious garland in the hand of a Vidyadhari. Vidyadhari means a heavenly magician. Vidyadhari is a heavenly magician. So Durvasa went to her and said, "Give it to me. I shall place it in the mass of my matted hair." He has a hairstyle which is horrible, Vanchakalpatarubhyascha, but very fashionable nowadays. You have this jat. In India you can see sometimes, you can see these sadhus, they never comb their hair and they let it grow. So sometimes you can see that it gets matted, means it's impossible to untie, and it turns into sort of a cushion, like a pillow, and it's hanging to one side. Yeah, they sleep on this pillow, so it's like Krishna has given us a pillow. But devotees are very austere, so we shave it off. Anyway, so he put it in his hair. So he asked this Vidyadhari, and, "O king, being pleased, she then gave that garland to him. Taking it, he tied it to his head for a long time. And the Brahmana, looking like a mad ghost, said something which I will not read. But he went to the heavenly planets and gave it to Indra. And Indra put it on. He put it on, but just for a short time. And then he put it on his elephant. He didn't throw, he put it on the elephant. In Vrindavan, very frequently you get a garland, so then what do? You go and put it on a bull. And what does a bull do? He makes like this, and then throws it, and usually eats it. But Airavata was not so hungry, so he didn't eat it. He threw it down and stepped on it. And then Durvasa got angry. And he said, "O you Indra, with your mind turned wicked due to the intoxication of splendor." Your intoxication of all kinds of success. You're intoxicated with all kinds of success. You are very stiff. I don't know why stiff. Since you do not rejoice at the garland, the abode of wealth given by me. Since you threw the garland, O fool, the prosperity of the world will perish. So everything will perish. And it did. It perished, and the demons saw, demigods are weak, and they attacked, and they won. And then the demigods come to their father and grandfather, Lord Brahma, please help us, please help us. And Lord Brahma is looking, and he says, I cannot help. It is beyond my power. So then here, he says, let's go to my father and mother. So Krishna is his both father and mother. So they go to, he turns to Krishna and he says this. And it sounds very similar to the verse that everybody knows. Sarva dharman parityaja mam ekam sharanam vraja. So here it says vrajama sharanam. Krishna says mamekam sharanam vraja, and here Brahma says vrajama sarve sharanam tam avyam. So we are all taking shelter in you. We are all taking shelter in you. And Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains who are these all. He says, okay, entities born from perspiration. Well, they have no way not to follow their hosts. So if some of us have entities born of perspiration, they have found that one place which hosts the biggest amount of germs in our body is the navel. Navel. Popek, yeah? And they studied different students, and in the navel of one young girl from a university, they found 4 bacteria which were unknown, and 3 bacteria which before that they found only at the bottom of the Mariana Trench. Which is 15 kilometers down, right? So if you go to the deity, they go with you. If you offer obeisances, they have also to take shelter in Krishna. If you are sitting and hearing Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, hare-rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, they have to listen, you know. So once one disciple asked Srila Prabhupada, so is it true that we have innumerable living entities inside our bodies? He said, yes. So then he said, do they all get benefit when we eat prasadam also? So then Prabhupada said, oh, you're so merciful. You're eating not for yourself, but for others. Yes, so they all get benefit. And apparently there are friendly germs and unfriendly germs and neutral germs. And if you have enough friendly, then they eat the unfriendly. They eat the unfriendly ones. So therefore some devotees, like our Maharaj also, as far as I understand, he probably never uses soap. And this way he maintains the God-given friendly guys who eat the unfriendly guys. Whereas if you indiscriminately, yes, so it's a very big subject of friendly and unfriendly microbes and germs. And they had a study that children who are always disinfected and grow in a very clean environment are much more depressed than those who play in dirt. I remember there was one mother and she had a child. She came to my room, and then the pacifier from her child fell down on the ground. So I said, I have an antiseptic. Do you want me to disinfect? He says, nope. Because that's too much. Water is enough. So actually this is already water. I have one with antiseptic and one with water for different purposes. And people who work in the garden with earth are much less depressed. And they say it's not just because of nature, not just because of green, although it's also helpful, but also because of the friendly guys who live in the earth, in the ground. So Lord Brahma says, these guys and the others, me, Gunavatara, Shiva, we carry out various creations. This is from Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's commentary. I create Marichi and others, Kala. So he mentions all the different entities. Marichis and others. So Marichi is the demigod who is also the personification of our mind, according to Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur in Canto 10. They create others as their sons and grandsons, including the demons. Including the demons who are attacking the demigods right now. And so the demigods are suffering. So Lord Brahma says, we are all approaching you and taking shelter in you. So we are all coming from you. So you are the source of all. You are the source of us, and you're the source of all living entities. So therefore, we are coming back to you and take shelter of you and say, if you have any plan, and if this plan includes us not suffering, now is the time to do something. But we take shelter. We take shelter. But if your plan includes us suffering, okay, we'll suffer. Happily. We'll suffer happily. Accepting your decision. So that's very interesting. They have this description of the spiritual path that pain is mandatory, suffering is optional. Right? That we will all meet some trouble in life. Trouble is inevitable. But suffering because of this trouble, that's our choice. So far so good, that's clear. As we have philosophers throughout the history who are saying that how your mind reacts to things that are happening, react to all the things, that's your mind. So because it's your mind, you can try to control it, you can try to redirect your mind's attention somewhere else. And we see this is what human life means. From the very, very beginning, mother is training children's minds. Yes, the child says, "Ah!" and the mother says, "Din, din, 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 look here." And he says, "Huh, what is that?" And suffering is finished. So some trouble was there, and then she offers something else, and no more suffering. So that's the spiritual process of offering a better alternative to the mind. Now, as spiritualists, we have a higher suffering. So we see there is a trouble. Okay, trouble is there. And then we are disturbed because of the disturbance. And this is what disturbs us. Not the trouble, but the fact that we got disturbed by the trouble. Because I know I'm a spiritualist. I should not be disturbed, and I am disturbed. So I'm very disturbed that I'm disturbed. because of the disturbance. What is this? What kind of spiritualist am I? Oh, how useless. I am such a failure. I am supposed to be undisturbed because of the disturbance, and I'm disturbed. And this is so disturbing. So we have 4 levels of suffering. Yeah? There is a suffering. Then there is suffering because of suffering. And then there is suffering because I suffer because I suffer. I shouldn't, and I do. What a trouble. So what to do? Brothers and sisters, fathers and mothers, sons and daughters. Lord Brahma is showing. We are approaching you. We are turning to Lord, to the Supreme Lord. So we try to take shelter. We take shelter. We accept Krishna's plan. You know about these 3 or 4 classes of sons and disciples. They are in Canto 9. When Yayati got cursed, you remember? Yayati got cursed to become old. And then Yayati went to his children asking for their youth, because who cursed Yayati? The Brahmana sage mentioned by Krishna. He says, among sages I am him. Among intelligent sages, Krishna says, I am Shukracharya. And Shukracharya also rules beautiful planet Venus, which is called Shukra Graha. So Shukracharya cursed Yayati to lose his young age, and then because he was married to Shukracharya's daughter, Devayani, and then Devayani came to Shukracharya and said, Father, we should have punished him, but I think this is too much. What will I do now? He's old. He said, oh yeah, true. I can't cancel the curse because it's useless. So then, okay, I will give a remedy. You can see that sometimes they give a curse and then they give a workaround. So okay, if somebody gives him the youth, their own youth, then he can become young again. So he turns to his different sons. So Yadu, the senior son, says, sorry, I have some service to do. So therefore, what was his service? His service was to start Krishna's dynasty. Krishna is a Yadava. So that was Yadu's service, devotional service. So then Yadu said, sorry, father. And it was okay, because he had a good excuse. And then others, there was Turvasu, and so they just refused, and they lost the blessings. Yadu could not be an emperor anymore. The others were all together in a bad position. And then the youngest son, Puru, the youngest son, he said, my father, of course, take my youth. Of course you can take my youth. And I'm very sorry. Why sorry? Because the first class son and disciple, he can understand what is to be done before being ordered, even before he is told what to do. Second class, then he is told and then he does. He is given a request and then he does it. And the third class, he is told and he doesn't do. And he doesn't do. So even if you don't guess, but you are told, and then you do, then that's not so bad. You can see that Puru was blessed that he will be the next emperor. So he became the next emperor because of exchanging his youth with his father Yayati. Then we read about Yayati ultimately becoming one of the great sages. And so there's a big story about Yayati in Canto 9 and in the Mahabharata. So accepting Krishna's plan. we may not we may like or we may not like Krishna's plan. But even if we do the plan, even if we don't like Krishna's plan, but if we follow Krishna's plan, then we get blessings. We get many blessings. And plus, at least we know where it is going. At least we understand how it develops. So Lord Brahma is showing us the example. He's saying, we are all coming from you. So Lord Brahma all the time has to do very difficult things. He has to create the whole universe. And you can see that you can see that some parts of creation he hates, some things he does he hates, and he even leaves his body, meaning he leaves that mentality. Some of the children are not very much to his liking, but he is a great Mahajan or Acharya because he is always taking shelter in Krishna. And he does it without pride. So from time to time, they even call it the curse of success. The curse of success. Sometimes you have some companies which become too successful too fast. And then they grow, and then they burst like a bubble. Because there's not enough substance. So therefore sometimes our success is slowed down. Our success is slowed down. So slowing down is also, the car needs not just the gas pedal, but also the brakes. So slowing down is also important. Many things have something to slow down. Like, for example, there are machine guns or automatic weapons, assault rifles. So they have some mechanism to slow it down, to slow down the shooting. Because, for example, some of the guns, these, whatever, this M5 or it's the same HK, Heckler & Co. So they run through the magazine of 30 bullets in 1 second. Some guns shoot something like 600 bullets in 1 second, like this Gatling gun or something. They go like very fast. So it's very impractical. So some guns, they have a special mechanism to slow it down, to not shoot so fast. Or they have a separate, they have single shots, automatic shooting, and then 3 by 3. They shoot 3 bullets and stop, 3 bullets and stop, otherwise it's... So here you have Durvasa Muni coming and giving a curse and cooling down the pride of the demigods. So everything is very nice, everything is very successful. And then Durvasa Muni comes and brings a garland, and then he gives a curse. He says, oh guys, that's not well, you will lose it all. And they lose it all, and what do? They come to Krishna and they surrender to Krishna. They surrender to Krishna, and what does Krishna say? Does Krishna just say, oh, my boys, don't worry, let me snap my fingers, I'm God. Snap, be happy, and they are happy even more. Does he do this? No. He says, oh, go to the demons. Where? Yeah, go to the demons. To the demons, they are rascals, yes. Go to the demons and say to the demons, let's make peace. Oh. Make peace, yes, make peace. And but offer them a plan. Offer them a plan. What plan? Let's churn the ocean. Really, yes. And then, whatever conditions they offer, you accept. Really, yes. So they do. They do, and they churn the ocean, and then poison comes. and this, so Shiva drinks. Then, I mean, there is a lot of interesting things happening. And then Dhanvantari comes with kumbha of nectar, and the demons take it away. But then Krishna comes, and then he helps, and then everything is good for a long time. Hare Krishna. Everything is good for a long time. Hare Krishna. Yes, here we have a container with nectar coming from the milk ocean. And the demons will not take it away. Hare Krishna. Yes, recently there was an article, where was it, BBC, what is the best drink for hot weather? The best drink for hot weather is not water, but milk. Because it has all the elements and electrolytes and microelements, and it's perfect for hot weather. And even better is milk from cows which are lovingly taken care of by devotees. This is the best. So, Krishna's plan is there for the whole universe. Krishna's plan is there for every living entity. You may not understand the plan. And even worse, sometimes we may not like the plan. Sometimes we think, but why don't I know the plan? Why doesn't Krishna just tell me? Problem is, Krishna tells you. But I don't like it anyway. So they will say, no, it cannot be. What do you mean surrender? What do you mean? No. What do you mean be humble? How do you mean be... This can't be true. There must be some better plan. What do you mean work? You mean like work? You mean like serve? Under the guidance? No, this is not possible. Whereas in the 6th canto we read that why don't we understand? Because we don't want to understand. So many. Our biggest problem is not that we don't know, but that we don't want to know. That's our big problem. Our biggest problem is not that we are cheated, but that we cheat ourselves. It's called denial. So you can see there is, this joke is going around that previously we thought that before internet, we thought that the cause of all problems is lack of information. So you know what? That's not the cause of all problems. Because now you have access to any information in the world, just at the snap of your fingers. Just ask and it's there. But we are so happy to be deluded, we are so happy to cheat ourselves, follow some deluding, misleading information. Turns the last few Nobel Prizes were given in economics were given to psychologists, because before it was considered that people are rational, so they will do what's rational, what gives them more wealth, more enjoyment. So it turns out no, people follow very weird ideas, not rational at all. People don't follow what's actually healthy. People don't follow what's actually reasonable and supported by facts and by the evidence. So when we are open to humbly accept the reality, when we are ready to drink the bitter medicine and also the sweet medicine, there are different kinds of medicine, both bitter and sweet. Oftentimes the truth is very, very clear. So what is the key? Surrender. What does surrender consist of? Surrender consists of being humble, accepting Krishna's plan, accepting what's favorable, rejecting what's not favorable, accepting Krishna as my master, accepting, trusting Krishna's plan. And so this is the beginning, and then being friendly to all the living entities, including ourselves, they say. Strangely enough, because we also hate ourselves, and then if we hate ourselves, it's difficult to not hate others. I think it's a rather new problem, hating ourselves, relatively. That we hate ourselves so much, and that, if we hate ourselves, how can we not hate others? It seems it's a rather new problem, because you don't often see this described. Don't hate yourself so much. So, titikshaya karunaya cha maitrya cha kilajantushu samatvena cha sarvatman bhagavan samprasidati. When a person is tolerant, when a person is merciful, when a person is friendly to all the living entities, when a person is equal, then the Lord is completely satisfied with such a devotee. So Lord Brahma is teaching this, Bhagavatam is teaching this, and if we follow, then we may make the best use of this human form of life and make our next few steps back home, back to Godhead, to Krishna, being able not to suffer because we suffer, and not to suffer because we suffer. But instead of that, chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Lord Brahma ki jai. Taking shelter in Krishna ki jai. Some questions or comments? Some points? Tamal Govinda Prabhu, Hare Krishna.
Yes, Zelenia. I'd like to ask how about these wars between demigods and demons, because I heard that demons, they have like more gross bodies and they have a lot of this technology, very technologically advanced, whereas demigods, they have more subtle bodies and subtle technology and stuff. And then how did this work, because even we here on this planet we have gross bodies and we can see subtle entities, and how then the demigods, the demons who are even lower, can interact with demigods?
Regarding gross technologies, I think it was from some books by Sadaputta Prabhu, who wrote several studies, and what he means is that a lot of the things we have now are some of these gross technologies, but it doesn't mean that all demons follow such gross technologies and have such gross civilization. He just says that this is the planets from below Earth. But this didn't happen immediately. They are actually brothers with the demigods, and demigods also have gross bodies. From Canto 6, it's obvious that demigods also have gross bodies. They are much subtler than our bodies, meaning that there is not that much earth in their bodies, but they have all the elements also. So, and besides, there are demons who are also more elevated than the ones who live at the lowest planets. So therefore they can fight. Plus, being brothers, so they have the same father, Kashyapa. They have the same father. They are half brothers. Just the mothers may be different. So they are not necessarily so much.
Thank you for inspiring lecture. Could I please ask what are the signs that we are deceiving ourselves? How can we acknowledge that we are deceiving ourselves?
Maybe the first is anger, and one of them is anger, and also we see too many idiots around. There are so many idiots around us, it's astounding. It's really shocking. How can people be so... So, this could be an indication that there is some part of me inside also which I do not accept, and because I do not accept it inside me, therefore Krishna has to show to me how this, how there could be some mistakes, and because I can't accept this mistake inside me, therefore I have to see it somewhere, and where better than in those idiots. It's a safe place to see a mistake, Oh, you see, they are so stupid. How can you be so stupid? Whereas usually humility, my friend said that he's become very afraid to ask this question, how can one be so stupid? Because he noticed that Krishna takes this question seriously, and he says, oh, you want to know? Oh, I will show. And he puts him in a situation where he does that stupid thing, he does this stupid mistake, and then he remembers, oh, I was asking, how can one be so stupid? Now I am so stupid. Now I am doing this. So therefore he tries to be more merciful. You can see even, for example, Jesus Christ is saying, Lord, please forgive them, they do not understand what they are doing. He's not saying, oh, they are such rascals, punish them more. Haridas Thakur, when he is beaten, he says, please don't punish them, even though Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is ready to cut them. And Parikshit Maharaj accepts the curse, and Shukadeva Goswami says, Tiraskrita vipralabda shaptak shiptahata api nasyatat pratikurvanti tad bhakta prabhavopihi. Devotees of the Lord, even when they are insulted, cheated, neglected, or even cursed, or even killed, do not try to counteract and take revenge, even if capable to do this, even if they have power to do this. So that means they have some deep compassion, deep understanding, and they exist on some... Actually, the next level the next verse explains what level they exist upon, why they can be so invulnerable, how they can be so... understand this word? Invulnerable, untouchable, unreachable for all these bad things. It says, Prayasha sadavo loke, parair dvandveshu yojita, navyat hanti nahrishyanti yata atma gunashaya. That in most cases, transcendentalists, sadhus, Prabhupada I think translates this as transcendentalists, but Sanskrit is sadhavo. Sadhavo means practitioners of spiritual path, are being dragged into the duality of this material world. This is good, this is bad. Are dragged into the duality. But even though almost the whole day they are dragged into the duality, they do not become disturbed, or they do not become elated. Elated. Ushichen? They do not become elated. Why? Because they have taken shelter, yata atma gunashaya. They have taken shelter of atma guna, of the qualities of the transcendental Lord. They take shelter of the qualities of the transcendental Lord. So therefore they are not on that level. So they can be invulnerable. So they can be beyond the duality. So not becoming too angry, not becoming too happy, but working on the transcendental project of serving Krishna, putting Krishna's plan into action. And Krishna's plan is to give the whole world some better chance to realize the full potential of the soul, become eternal, soul full of Satchidananda, eternity, knowledge and bliss, and return back home to Goloka Vrindavan, back home to our real work of cowherding with Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare-rama, Hare-rama, Rama Hare Hare. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Now we're going to be